What we're going to do is called a composite function. And all that means is we're going to take one function and insert it into the other. So this is our symbol, where the FOG. So I'm going to take the G function, which is this, and I'm going to substitute it where the X is in the other function. So FOG becomes 3, but I'm going to substitute the other function where X is. So X squared plus 6, and then minus 4. And when I simplify this function, that means multiply through, I'll get 3x squared plus 18 minus 4. And if I continue, I get 3x squared plus 14. And so the composite function of FG is this. Now, we can do the opposite one too. If I go G, I'm going to take the F function, and I'm going to now substitute where I see the X in the other G function. So G composite F means I'm going to take wherever I see X and put 3x minus 4. So 3x minus 4, and that gets squared because I'm just replacing the X, plus 6. This is just FOIL, so let's just FOIL that out. 3x minus 4 times 3x minus 4 plus 6. And so 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times minus 4 is a minus 12x, and plus 16 plus 6. So if I simplify this, that means combine like terms, I end up with 9x squared minus 24x, and these two added would be plus 22. And so that is what the GOF function, or composite, equals. So composite is just simply taking one function and substituting another. Okay, verifying an inverse is just like doing composites. If we put one function into the other function and we get x, then we have an inverse. So if I take this and substitute it where I see the x, so it's going to be 5x, where the x is, 5, I get x. Then if I do the same thing the opposite direction, if I take this whole thing and substitute it right there, 5, and then I'm going to substitute x over 5, and when I cancel out the 5's, I get x. When these two are x, you have what's called an inverse. If they're anything but an x, it's not. The last type is actually finding an inverse. So to find an inverse, we have to remember one thing. This really means y. So if I change it to a y, 7x minus. Now to do an inverse, we do what's called, we switch the letters and then solve for y again. So if I switch the letters, I get x equals 7y minus 5. And now what I want to do is solve for y. That means get y by itself. So to do that, I'm going to add 5. So when I add 5, I get x plus 5 equals 7y. And then I divide by 7. So I divide this whole thing by 7. And so we get a function x plus 5 over 7. And so this is often called, and we'll replace this with what's called f of -1, meaning inverse, equals this x plus 5 over 7. So that's how we write it. So we just replace the x and the y, and we get the inverse function.